We're here with Linda McLean again. Um, she was born in 1940 and was growing up in North Carolina. Linda, you and your 8 brothers and sisters and parents worked especially hard throughout the growing and harvesting seasons. Did you have any other workers on your farm?
Uh, we frequently had other people come in. We didn't have anybody living there until most of till all everybody had left the farm, but me, and then my uncle, my mother's brother, came to live on the farm with us. But when it was major harvesting season, we had a black guy from town that would be there every day, helping out, and then when it was a black tobacco priming day, we frequently would hire an extra hand or two, or we'd have another farmer who had tobacco come in and help that day. Then we'd go back and help him when he had to prime his tobacco.
And I think I recall you told me when meals were served, they had to sit in a separate area.
They had to eat at the second table. We had a black family that lived up the road from us, and they they would also come and help when we need them. We would always do a major spring cleaning in the house of just taking everything out, taking our straw mattresses out, dumping the straw and refilling them, and just some head to toe type cleaning. And Mabel and Cor would and Ella, they were the black family up the street, and one or two of those ladies would come down and help us during that time. And yes, they always had to eat at the table after we got through, and I never thought that was fair.
Did you ever have any white workers?
Occasionally, sometimes one of us kids' friends would want to help on the tobacco priming days, but only then.
And did they eat after you guys or with
Oh,
you
heavens
guys?
no. They were white.
Okay. Explain the perceptions most white people had about blacks during the time you were living at home between 1940 and 1958.
Blacks were thought to not be as smart as white people, not as clean as white people, and they were sort of a second class citizen. Uh, and it was never any discussion about it. It was just that blacks had their own separate bathrooms, they had their own separate water fountains, and they were always to eat at a second table. They were never to go into a front door of a restaurant. They always had to go to the back door if they wanted something at a restaurant. And nobody discussed it or thought too much about it. That was just accepted customs.
What were your feelings personally?
I did not like it. I did not think it was fair. I thought they were people with feelings just as much as we were. And I, I wanted to see that change.
So, after you graduated from high school, well, first of all, anything particular in high school about black people versus white people, or any kind of racial tensions or thoughts going on in your high school? Were there black students at your high school?
There were not black students in my high school. We were a segregated town, and I had a couple of girlfriends that were black and crossed the tracks in Colored Town that I uh, really, really felt sorry for because I knew they were not getting as good an education as I was, and I knew it wasn't fair. And I had met them through our peddling route, and they also were uh, the children of the son of one of the ladies that lived on the black ladies that lived on our road. And I would spend some time on Saturday on the peddling route talking with them, and I could see how things were so unfair for them. And then I did get into a big argument with some of my brothers one day about there shouldn't all the differences and equalities, unequal opportunities that blacks had, that whites had, and uh, they really just were very upset with me for even bringing up and even the idea that I could think that blacks were equal to us and should share the same, uh, share everything equal with us.
After high school, you went to nursing school in Atlanta. Explain your involvement in the civil rights movement during that time period.
Well, first of all, again, I saw a very unequal situation there. I was at Grady Memorial for nursing school, and Spelman. I don't know whether you guys have heard of Spelman College here or not, but it is one of the main black schools in the South, and it's integrated now, but still it holds the name of being a top black school if you want an education. And it had a nursing school that also was associated with Grady for them to get their clinical experience. But here again, we were segregated. In nursing school, we also got to go to college, and we took a full college load. So we were getting college credit while getting our nursing degree. But the black girls that were in nurses training did not have that option. They couldn't go to college. They could only get their nursing degree. And so again, that put me, ready to, how do we make things equal? How do we have things on an equal basis? And the things they were starting to have lunch counter sit-ins. There were a few marches going on to protest the lack of equality. And not my first year in Atlanta, but my second year in Atlanta, we had a big department store, which is a Macy's now. It was called Rich's then. It was locally owned, and it was, where we could do a lot of our shopping. And they always had a basement for good bargains and things for us college kids. And we loved Rich's department store. And we heard that Martin Luther King was going to organize and do a sit-in at their lunch counter one day. And so 2 or 3 of us nursing students went up to the lunch counter sit-in, and we sat in, and Martin Luther King, he basically walked through and he said, gave a little 2 or 3 sentence speech about peace and how to stay nonviolent, and to just basically sit, and if anybody tried to arrest us or anything, just be passive and not put up any fight or any argument with them, just passively be a passive peace demonstrator.
What was your impression seeing Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in person?
He was very inspiring and very, I wouldn't say breathtaking, but he was very inspiring. And we felt like, we were sort of on the high of how awesome that he came through on the day that we chose to go up there to do a sit-in.
Did you feel like participating in that or meeting Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Changed your life at that time?
It just made me feel stronger about the fact that we had to change the lack of equality for all people. And I really liked that he spoke about it for all people, not just blacks. He wanted to see equality for everybody. And it just made me feel stronger about it, more passionate about it, and more determined. Also, it was never a time that we didn't feel hopeful. We always felt this challenge could be accomplished. That was given to us to bring about equality.